This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Steph, do we have everyone here?
I see Karen. Ike, are you on? Ike? Kathleen's on. Anita is not jumping on. Bob's not jumping on. I see Tina. And you, yeah, so as long, Ike, you on yet?
Okay, so while we're waiting for Ike, how about if we start the public
CDB.
hearing?
Yep.
Okay, so before the regularly scheduled voting evening, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Chris Stetler to open her public hearing on the CDBG program application. Chris, if you're available.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Chris.
Thanks. Yes?
So anytime you're ready, Chris.
Oh, okay. All right. This is the second of two public hearings for the 2021 Community Development Block Grant program. The Borough is entitled to an allocation of 2021 funds of $134,796. We've looked at various needs in the community and the programs that we can legitimately operate with community development block grant funds, and decided that the best use of these funds would be to continue the housing rehabilitation program. The program benefits low and moderate income homeowners who live in single family owner occupied buildings. We'd be using $24,263 for administration, which is 18% of the grant. That is the maximum that the state will allow us to use. The other $110,533 will be used for the rehab program, and there's two parts to that. One is construction and one is delivery costs. We anticipate that we'll be able to do two houses that may have an average cost of $35,539 to rehab, and then one additional house at about $30,000. This all depends on what the houses need, and but we have to give them a number of what we're going to do, and that will take up $100,718, and the remainder, $9,815, will be used for delivery. And delivery is getting someone eligible, determining if they're income eligible for the program, testing their properties for lead and radon, developing technical specifications for the work that needs to be done, inspections, bidding and contracting, construction supervision, that sort of thing. And the money, the money for delivery will cover the three houses that we'll use CDBG money for construction, and probably several others. We can't guarantee that everyone that we process will be eligible. We also are applying for home funds, and someone that we judge eligible may have their housing rehabilitated using home funds if we've used the CDBG funds. I'd like to ask for any comments that anyone has on how the program works, whether this is an appropriate use for the CDBG funds, questions, comments, or concerns. I feel like I've done this a million times.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. The grant application is due at the end of October, and we will be accepting written comments. If someone all of a sudden gets done and has a burning question in their mind, they can contact me at Borough Hall at 610-828-1092. They can put their comments in writing and send them to Borough Hall, or email them to me at cstetler@conshahockenpa.gov. We will be accepting written comments until the 30th of September. Council is going to be asked to authorize the submission of the application and to approve the community development 3-year plan at its August 20th meeting. That will give us enough time to to do any editing that we need to do and submit the application by the 28th of October. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Chris. And I would
You're
also
welcome.
like to publicly thank you for all of the hard work that you do for the CDBG program and for the residents of the borough and the administration. So it is truly appreciated by all of us.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're
So
so welcome.
I'll let you get on with your meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
By the authority vested in me, I hereby declare this meeting of the Conshohocken Borough Council duly open and ready to conduct any business that may come before it. Steph, would you like to do roll call?
Yes, thank you, President Leonard. Councilmember Totino.
I apologize, Steph. I was on mute. Present.
Councilmember Griffin.
Here.
Councilmember Kingsley.
Here.
Councilmember Barton is noted as absent. Councilmember Stokely is noted as absent. Vice President Sokolowski.
Here.
President Leonard.
Here.
Mayor Aronson.
Here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steph. Now we will do prayer for council. O divine master, in deep humility, we place ourselves, our thoughts, and our plans in thy hands. We beg thee to fill our minds and our wills with the gifts of wisdom, understanding, counsel, fortitude, knowledge, and piety. Help us not to think of self or personal desires, but rather consider the responsibilities laid upon us. Help us to promote, as far as possible, the welfare of our people and to treat them with impartiality and justice. Grant us the power to set a good example in thought, word, and deed, so that thy blessings will be showered upon us and the people we represent. Amen. So if council would do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the
To the
flag
flag of the
of the
United
United
States
States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which
for
it
which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with liberty
liberty and
and
justice for
justice
all.
for all. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for our regularly scheduled public voting session. At this time, please mute your audio lines. No public comments will be permitted during the course of the meeting until the designated public comments section located on your agenda. You will be notified during the meeting when public comments are permitted. You may also submit written comments via email to brogers@conshockenpa.gov. A member of the borough administration will read public comments submitted in this manner. For all comments, please include your name and address for the record. Thank you in advance for your cooperation during this remote meeting. Council did have an executive session on legal matters before the regularly scheduled voting meeting. The first item on the agenda is under presentations. It's Proclamation 2021-07, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. We have Ms. Jennifer Rivera to present a brief presentation in recognition of Hispanic Heritage Month. So Jennifer, if you are here.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for having Hispanic Heritage Association here with you all. We appreciate the support that the community has given Hispanic Heritage Association. We are super excited that the proclamation reading is going to take place today to commemorate the Hispanic Heritage Month. This is a monumental moment for all of us celebrating. We would like to continue the celebration by asking your support and your community members to continue to bring a lot of support to Hispanic Heritage Association. We have a vision and a mission, and to achieve that, we need the community to honor our programming for our children, and we're looking for the support of sponsorship and funds. along with community support on our events. So we ask that while we read this proclamation, we can also ask those that are here to continue to support Hispanic Heritage Association. Without your support, we won't be able to make Hispanic Heritage the association that we want to be, to provide these services to the community that it really needs. It's a big need in the community, and we want to provide that. With that being said, I would like to introduce the proclamation for our organization.
So
Jennifer,
go ahead, Steph.
we're going to read the proclamation at this time. Is that okay with you?
Yes, please.
Tonight it is a proclamation celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month. Whereas the Borough of Conshohocken wishes to celebrate and recognize the extraordinary contributions Hispanics have made to American society and culture. And whereas on August 17, 1988, on the approval of Public Law 100-402, the United States Congress set forth a series of annual presidential proclamations designating the 31-day period beginning September 15th and ending on October 15th as National Hispanic Heritage Month. And whereas we celebrate all Hispanics defined by the United States Census Bureau as a person of Cuban, Mexican, Puerto Rican, South of Central American, or other Spanish culture or origin, regardless of race, and further states that Hispanics or Latinos can be of any race, ancestry, or ethnicity. And whereas on this date, we recognize all Hispanics and bring awareness of culture, language, history, art, education, and other highlighted moments. We adopt every year the third Friday of September as the Hispanic Day of Celebration. And now, therefore, we support the work of the Hispanic Heritage Association of Southeastern PA and its volunteers that promote and bring awareness through events and partnerships, including the Hispanic Day of Celebration to be celebrated here in the Borough of Conshohocken. It witness wherefore I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the Great Seal of the Borough of Conshohocken, to be affixed this 15th day of September 2021.
Thank you, Stephanie. So from council, I would be looking for a motion to approve Proclamation 20-21-07, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month and designation of Friday, September 17th, 2021 as the Hispanic Day of Celebration in the Borough of Conshohocken.
I'll make that motion to Tino.
I'll second it.
And the second was by Kathleen Kinsley. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, the next item on the agenda is land use matters, public hearings, and ordinances. The first item is consider authorizing advertisement of the ordinance amendment to establish animal control regulations. I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Peters for a brief summary.
Thank you, President Leonard. We discussed this ordinance in depth at your work session earlier this month. In brief summary, the ordinance creates an animal control officer, clarifies the restrictions within the borough, for example, no off-leash animals and picking up of animal waste. It contains specific regulations for chickens and prohibits roosters within the borough. And then it contains a series of escalating fines from $50 to $500. And finally addresses affirmatively the issue of feral cat colonies within the borough by making the feeding of stray and feral cats specifically illegal. So this evening, if you're inclined, you could make a motion to approve advertisement, or you can make suggested changes or provide comments.
Is there
Sokolowski
anyone?
will make a motion.
Okay,
Sorry,
no, that's fine. So the motion is to authorize advertisements for the ordinance amendment to establish animal control regulations. And we have a motion by Vice President Sokolowski. I just need a second.
I'll second Kingsley.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The first item is to approve and adopt the August 4th and August 18th regular meeting minutes. The second item is approve the August ending treasurer's report and accounts payable. So the first motion I will be asking council for is a motion to approve and adopt the August 4th and August 18th regular meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion. Griffin.
Second, Sokolowski.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next motion I will be asking council for is a motion to approve the August ending treasurer's report and accounts payable in the amount of $536,947.14.
I'll make
I'll
that
make that-
motion. Griffin.
Second,
Thank you.
Sokolowski.
Thank you. So we have a motion by Mr. Griffin and a second by Vice President Sokolowski. All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business, and I will turn that over to Ms. Checo.
Thank you, President Leonard. At the work session, you interviewed Aparna to be appointed to the Dog Park Advisory Committee for a vacancy. This evening, it's consideration to appoint to the Dog Park Advisory Committee.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Tutino.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Annually, the municipality is required to satisfy a minimum municipal obligation for all of our pension funds for the police, fire, and non-uniform. For 2022, the police pension plan obligation is the amount of $586,048. The fire pension plan is in the amount of $3,207. And the non-uniform pension plan requirement is $167,154. Those values will be in your 2022 budget. This evening, I need approval to approve the borough's 2022 minimum municipal obligations are required by Act 205.
I'll make that motion. Griffin.
Thank you. I'll second it. Leonard. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is new business, and again, I will refer to Ms. Checo.
As everyone is aware, our emergency management team was involved in high water rescues during Storm Ida. When the water started to recede slightly, we were able to utilize other emergency vehicles in addition to our rescue boats, specifically a high water vehicle that was provided through mutual aid with Radnor Township. This vehicle allowed us to cross the floodwaters and assist a greater number of isolated individuals stranded by the floodwaters. Having watched this high water vehicle in action personally, I can tell you that it's a tremendous tool to have in our arsenal to combat floodwater. There was an opportunity to secure our own high water vehicle that occurred last week. Since we've identified this critical piece of equipment, because we are most likely going to be battling increasing chances of major floods due to climate change. So when the opportunity arose, we need to jump on it. The nature of these vehicles is that they are military grade and they are first come, first served. So I had reached out to all of council to ask permission to draw on emergency capital reserves in order to secure the purchase of the vehicle. There was a unanimous sentiment by council to move forward with securing it with a deposit. So what I'm looking for this evening is a motion to ratify a supplemental appropriation for the purchase of a high water rescue vehicle from the Capital Reserve Fund.
I'll make that motion. Tutino.
Second. Griffin.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Steph, the only other thing that I think we should say out loud is This is also for the safety of our volunteers who are working the emergency. We don't want our volunteers in the water the whole time, so to have a vehicle to be able to help assist, ensure safety of our staff and volunteers.
That's a great point, Vice President Sokolowski. I think it's also important to point out that the vehicle can be used in any type of disaster evacuation. It's not just floods, so it will be used wherever there is debris or road conditions, or if there's fires or tornadoes, snow, earthquakes. So while it's fresh in our minds that it's specific for flood, it really is across the board for any disaster evacuation situation that we're presented with. Hopefully we aren't, but if we are, we're prepared. And I just want to thank council and the mayor for working through that with our emergency management team. And to Vice President Sokolowski's point, there were our emergency management personnel, the hours and the conditions that they were in for that long of a time period. It was, I don't really know what to say about it, but we have an amazing team of first responders, and just want to thank you for at least for working through us with this particular piece to get us a tool that we really think will help us in the future. So thank you.
And I'm sure that some sentiment is agreed with by all staff. Thank you.
The next item, again, is pertaining to Storm Ida. So during the storm, when the storm started on September 1st, it caused major flooding within the borough. We declared a local disaster emergency, which authorized the borough officials to act as necessary to respond to the emergency situation. We then had to ratify the declaration of emergency disaster that was issued on both September 1st and September 8th. So what I'm asking for this evening is the formal approval of resolution 2021-26, which ratifies the declaration of the local disaster emergency as issued on September 1st and September 8th. And we are currently working with FEMA and the county on disaster recovery efforts.
I'll make that motion. Griffin.
Second,
I'll second
Sokolowski.
it.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Griffin, a second by Vice President Sokolowski. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The last, second to last, is we received a block party request for the 200 block of East 8th Avenue. This is the 4th annual block party. Details are all the same. They are setting up some canopies for food, lawn games, small bounce house, small DJ, asking for specific sections of the road to be closed off. Since this is the 4th year, there's no real concerns from an administrative perspective. The administrative recommendation is that the block party request be approved again.
I'll make a motion. Kingsley.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Ms. Kingsley and a second by Ms. Tatino. All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries.
And the last item is we received 2 tuition reimbursement requests from Officers Bond and Officer Hall. Again, this is a contract stipulation in the police CBA.
I'll make that motion. Griffin.
I'll second
second it.
Kingsley.
So we have a motion by Mr. Griffin and a second by Ms. Kingsley. All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
The last item on our agenda for this evening is public comment. Brittany, do we have any submitted comments?
No, we did not receive any written public comment.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone with us this evening for public comment? Okay. Mayor Aronson, do you have any announcements for us this evening?
Yes, thank you, President Leonard.
You're welcome.
On Saturday evening, we had our annual 9/11 memorial ceremony at West Conshohocken Borough Hall. Conshohocken was represented by members of all of our emergency services, police, fire, ambulance, and fire police. In fact, in that picture of the flag in the center there, one of our wash these trucks is on one side, and George Clay is on the other side. One of the main themes of the night was Boroughs United, just as all local municipalities came together in the aftermath of 9/11. Thank you to all that attended. It was a really wonderful evening. I also want to say a word of thanks to our emergency services and administrative staff for their truly extraordinary response during Hurricane Ida and its aftermath. I've heard from residents all over the borough with stories about how our team helped them during the flooding 2 weeks ago, and of course continue to help in some cases. Thank you, thank you. I don't think we can say it enough. It really was absolutely an extraordinary job by our whole team. And then finally, that little picture on the left there, Sarah and I have been collecting gift cards for those affected by the storm. Colonial Neighborhood Council says they're in need of grocery store gift cards. Specifically, we have collection bins all over the borough. Dr. Neal's office, Guppy's, the Hussey team, Caldwell Banker, Warrior Elite Cheerleading on Caldwell, and the VFW. So please donate. We'll be collecting them regularly and handing them directly to Sandy at CNC. And that's it from me.
Thank you, Mayor Aronson. Mr. Griffin, do you have anything this evening?
No, I just like to second what the mayor said because everybody in Conshohocken did a great job.
Thank you, Ike. Kathleen, do you have anything this evening?
Just what everybody else said. I personally walked down the flood area on Elm on Thursday and Friday, and the public works people were out there. They were just absolutely wonderful. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tino?
I don't have anything, thank you.
You're welcome. Vice President Sokolowski?
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Chief Metz? I forgot. Chief Metz is not with us this evening, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if there is nothing else this evening, I will adjourn the meeting. Meeting adjourned. And thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
Ike.
Night.
Good night.